Classroom of the Elite Year 2 Volume 10. I once trauma dumped every possible scarring shit a human can go through with my newly made 4-month-old girlfriend just so that I can say to her face, "That's what you get for fricking with me 6 months ago," as she looks up at me with the sunken red eyes that had been crying more than twice the average of 5.3 per month for the past 5 months for my sake. So yeah, I think I am him. I am Hashimoto Masayoshi. And on a spiritual level I understand him, and you know what? I am glad that he did what he did. 'Cause honestly, I am gonna say it, as much of the little sassy queen for all ma pedos that Sakyongi is, she has had it way too easy all this time. Like I get it, she is a genius and all. But there is no reason for her to always be like, Kyoka Suigetsu, everything is going according to plan. Like she has been catching all the dubs left and right till now. The exact opposite of Ichino's. And speaking of Ichino's, her good girl turned yandere saga is going quite well. And I know that I have been one of the reviewers who has celebrated Kyoka like a bisexual Swiftie cheering internally when her bestie's relationship breaks up. But you know what, I am quite alright with Ichino's is sneaking around for right now. Although if it was anyone but Ichino's, I would have turned into a black girl and start spitting verses about what an absolute bitch the bitch who tryna steal my bitch's man is. But nah, it's Ichino's, the girl who has taken more L's than the amount of time this guy has molested little Chinese boys. Now coming back to Hashimoto, he is me. And hence when I saw my own self being borderline badass I was happy. And now let's break down the how Hashimoto was borderline badass in this volume. So, first of all let's get right to the special exam, which is a simple 4-class competition among just the second years, where each class gets a turn asking the other subsequent class a question and nominating 5 people who will have to answer that said question. But the class being asked can have 5 of its members protected, and if the class asking the question nominates an already protected person, the answer asked to that particular person is automatically registered as correct. And the turn in which the class asks the subsequent class a question is reversed after lunch break. Anyways, the special exam is set. Sakyongi is bored wondering if anything can pose an interesting challenge to her. Ryuan be scheming devious things, Ichino's be dreaming about cucking K and also a bit about how to win the special exam while protecting all the classmates, and Horikita be getting made self-conscious by Ayano Koji, who as usual feels nothing in that rock-hard heart of his. And so on the preparations goes. But before we get into the special exams let's talk about the other things that happened in this volume. One of which is the foreshadowing of a parent-teacher meeting. Imagine that, a parent-teacher meeting with Papa Koji, Chabashira, Ayano Koji. That might just be the most boring shit ever. It's not like the average nerve-wracking PTM where the kid is scared that the teacher will bitch about him to the parents and the parents in turn will make the most awkward car drive home. Beat your ass and kick your lil ass out of the house at 1:30 freaking PM when it's just the most unbearable heat wave going around, and then will taunt you for forever in the future, whenever they feel like it, while a dinner is going on about how that bitch of a teacher who doesn't even know you that well called you a slow kid. Yeah, that will never happen to Ayano Koji. Like, freaking Chabashira will be too scared to speak to Papa Koji. Plus, Ayano Koji's mother is definitely not showing up, cause she is probably busy with the adult male escort Kiyotaka in some other country. And speaking of that, Ayano Koji Kiyotaka really took after the man he is named after. Like really, this man's harem is never ending. You know, let's just count it out. There is Sato, Kei, Ichino's, Sakyongi, Hiyori along with the girls who are possibly interested in him, which is Horikita, and even freaking Kushida. Not to mention my man can also easily add some men in his freaking harem. And I must say, Harada and Albert may well be at the very top of the harem pyramid. In my heart. Anyways, moving on to other things that took place in this volume, we got a repeat of a little Michan and Koenji moment. Who would have thought? Most certainly not me, cause I forgot all about Michan's secret superhero who delivered her food outside her door. But it was blindly obvious that it was Koenji, so let's not get too much into that mystery. Ayano Koji and Michan confronted Koenji regarding it, where he brazenly admitted to the fact that he was the secret superhero, and true to the anime fashion, talked about something that the past Michan had done for him. And if that past something doesn't involve a locket and keychain, I don't really think it will involve some actual romance. Koenji is such a peculiar character that I think if you show some depth to him, like he is very mindful of Michan and actually has some feelings for her, then it will ruin the whole class dynamic up until now. So yeah, Michan is bugging trying to remember what favor she has done to Koenji. Whereas Ayano Koji has another one of those talks with Koenji where he is poking around to find out his intentions, and he probably learned something about Koenji's behavior pattern. And talking about Koenji, Horikita fucked him. Sort of. So in this special exam you could protect 5 students prior to every turn of the question, and since Horikita had previously made a deal with Koenji to protect him, people thought it was a given that he would be one of the 5 to be protected in every other turn. But Horikita came up with the brilliant strategy to not do that. She was like, hey, I just made a deal to protect you, but you have a protection point that prevents you from being expelled, so you don't need the protection. And Koenji is smart enough to realize that, and he didn't get offended by Horikita's tactics but rather amused that she had called his bluff. And another person who found that out was Class A. Cause Hashimoto, had a late night call with Sakyongi and told her every big info about Horikita's class. And so Sakyongi knew about Koenji being protected and all, and targeted him. Abed then didn't target him and was impressed by Horikita, not cause she is more intelligent than she thought but because she is more closer to Ayano Koji and learned from him. Which seems a bit like a backhand compliment, but it does ring true. And now let's move on to the crux of this volume, Ibuki making lunch. Honestly, it brings a tear to my left eye to see the tremendous growth that Ibuki has shown, from being overly competitive with Horikita to being overly competitive with Horikita while freeloading food off of her. She really has come a long way. Along with Kushida, I mean, what a masterclass of a friendship. I genuinely think Kushida, Ibuki and Horikita's friendship bond is stronger than any other girlfriend's bond. And of course once my man Ayano Koji realized that, he was like, come Horikita, how about you prepare yourself for kicking Ibuki out of the school. You know, in another one of his therapy sessions for students who need to be guided so they can become strong enough to be his entertainment, Ayano Koji had one of those deep Sigma talks with Horikita. Much like the talk I have with my friend whenever he decides to impart his wisdom about what is real and not, and apparently I fall in the not category, but that's a video for another time. Ayano Koji imparted his wisdom upon Horikita after he had seen that she had grown enough to deserve it. And he talked about being conscious about the consequences of her action just beyond her own class. He basically told her to be more aware of the bigger picture and then move on towards how she has impacted it. Now I am sure that if someone wanted to, they can make a 48 laws of power essay upon it, most likely my friend only, but I can't. But what I can do is talk about how Ayano Koji Kiyotaka's apathetic expressionless, thin-lipped, no-nose face melted into a smile. That is the first time, I think. I am definitely not going to count the stupid manga version, so yeah, definitely the first time Ayano Koji laughed, smiled naturally. That's the key thing, naturally. I am sure he has been practicing how to smile secretly since he was in White Room, but this time while talking with Horikita, my man's rock-hard heart moved involuntarily for a moment. Just some funny coincidence, and my man smiled, shocking Horikita and also himself. And seeing how Horikita was blushing and flabbergasted she was in her short story, my man must have won one of those pookie wookie boo boo bear honey sweetie cutie patootie pie sugar boo strawberry muffin cake like smile. Just like my favorite pookie aoki bookie cookie dulki yuki fookie gookie hookie ioaki juki kookie luki mookie nookie uki pookie kookie rookie suki tuki wookie vookie wookie zuki yuki zuki boo boo bear. Anyways, let's talk about the special exam. Now we have established, Horikita Bashe just had one strategy, which was to put Koenji on the line if it called for it, but other than that she just prepared the basics. Sakyongi almost deliberately went with no plan so that she can be surprised or entertained. And my Ryuan with AA Giga Brain strategy. And Ichino seems to have some strategies in place, but she really lucked out trying to establish partnership with Ryuan. Before that though, I think her head was mostly filled with fantasies about Ayano Koji. And probably also some dirty guilt pleasure fantasies that involve K. Those ones me and Ichinos might have shared in common, but anyways, Ichinos was freaking brazen in this volume. I mean, this woman found an excuse to meet Ayano Koji in his room under the guise of disking the special exam. I mean, that's sad. My man Kanzaki was there genuinely talking his heart out about what their class should do, and Ichinos probably couldn't wait to get the discussion over with so that she could spend some alone time with Ayano Koji after they are all done discussing and leave the room. And that's what Ichinos did, forgot her phone, came back for it and flirted while closing the door behind her, not even doing that properly. And then on the doorsteps itself she went for a hug. I mean, imagine her feeling up my man's Ayano Koji's rock-hard abs and chest, and back and shoulders. I feel bad for Kei just imagining that. And you know it was instant karma then. Got caught lacking by the side character from her class. Like Ichino's legit jad to manipulate her way through to being like, hey, if you keep this secret I might just set you up with the girl you like. Like she has to play the pimp now. Which is well deserved, both cause she got caught lacking, and also because it's a very awkward position to be in when you catch a scene like that. Like, my man shouldn't be forced into being an accomplice to your dirty sins. Although he wasn't forced or anything, but the reasoning he gave was a bit shaky, cause it was just the normal sort of story that happens and stuff and it doesn't directly relate to why he would hide an affair. Who knows, Japanese values be weird. So the first half of the special exam commences and then Sakyongi's class is at the top, followed by Horakida's, Ichinos's and Ryuan's. But in the second half things change when Ryuan's plans come to light and it turns out there is a traitor among Class A who is probably live streaming all the decisions Sakyongi is taking and transmitting it to Ryuan. So Ryuan's getting perfect 5 points all the time cause he knows who will be nominated and protects them in advance. He also relays info to Ichinos to make sure that Sakyongi ends up at the bottom. And Ichinos under the guise of helping Horakida's class lives her bull fantasy. And at the end of it all, Sakyongi's class ends up at the bottom which means she has to eliminate someone, and she uses the fair method of drawing lots and unbeknownst to her she lets her pride of being indifferent get in the way of protecting her perhaps only dear friend, and Kamuro got expelled. And that happened all cause of the trailer which was of course me, Hashimoto. But seriously though Hashimoto played the kingmaker here, although I do think Ryuan might have used some underhanded method against him. But Hashimoto really had big game this volume. And of course Sakyongi realized that later, cause she is Sakyongi. But my man didn't back down. He confronted her head down. What are you doing playing around for enjoyment, don't you care about graduating in Class A? Oh, you ready don't as long as you can have an orgasm battling with Ayano Koji. Well, some people are here striving for their future. And he wasn't wrong about that, even going as far as to say that he would expel Tsukinagi. That's the right move, you can't half-ass a battle. It's not like she isn't gonna do the same to him. In fact after making a emotional promise with Kamuro, I am not feeling hoped for my man. But you king, fight against all you have with the little princess. One thing that does bug me though, one thing that Sakyongi also pointed out, what does Hashimoto even know about Ayano Koji? I mean he definitely has no first-hand knowledge. And to go so far as to declare that it will be impossible to get into Class A without Ayano Koji by his side is a bit on the crazier side. Like it would be nice to know exactly what picture he has in mind. But what is done? Sakyongi is sad and way more angry at Hashimoto than she was at Yamagata. Plus she got an awakening by Ayano Koji. Another one of his therapy sessions for students who need to be guided so they can become strong enough to be his entertainment. I really hope sometime in the future Hashimoto can have one of those but it seems unlikely. He is definitely feeling more like fodder for Sakyongi's and Class A's future growth. And also, there are so many random female side characters approaching Ayano Koji in one volume after another. Like come on author, are you still trying to expand the harem? I know the T-Rex probably can't be satisfied, just about every other prominent female character is enough. There is no need to throw more and more side dishes on there. But really this was one of those better second-year volumes, and if you felt sad about Kamuro getting expelled, you are a simp. That woman had so much less of a screen time, but yeah, she was a fun character to read in the past few volumes. Funnily enough her most interesting interactions I think in the entire volume were with Hashimoto. So yeah you can feel a bit of melancholy for that.
All my fellas.